Well, hi, this is Custom Works and I am Clint Allen. Today we're going to be talking about surging at idle and possibly even bucking, depending on which sensor that we're going to be talking about. One of the biggest things that you'll see if you're digging through the old forums where not much gets handled is, oh, I've got this issue where at idle, when hot, it jumps from 50 to 70 RPMs above the normal RPM. So 50 to 70, 50 to 70, 50 to 70. It keeps on doing that. And most of the time when it's hot. So this particular fault in the 7.3 is something that is very difficult for the home DIYer to figure out. But I've spent a lot of time on this and we're going to hit down on the basics. Now, when we have this in my shop, we have a Pico, we have availability to go directly online via scanner with Ford, and we're able to figure it out really quickly on which component or wire or whatever the case may be is causing the problem. At the end of the video too, I'll give you a suggestion, a couple suggestions, a quick way to handle the issue, but the truck's going to be down for a while, and also some other tips that you should be doing just because of the age of the truck. So let's get going on the first one here. Oh, and before we get rolling here, I'm sorry for everybody that's been viewing. We have had asked questions. Been very busy in our shop. I have a government contract, one of the things that we do, and unbeknownst about 5-6 months ago, a flatbed came rolling in with a really well-prepared crate and a 109-page report, which basically said, make this work. It's got a 67% failure rate and acceptable is 0 to 3. So we've been working on that. We finally got it finished, so I'll be able to get back to comments. So you haven't seen much of me lately. We've been really busy. The first thing that you want to look at is the ICP, injection control pressure sensor. The ICP is normally when the engine's hot and the idle is going up and down, is going to be the first thing that you want to take a look at. If you are going down the road and you're about 25 miles per hour to about 45 miles per hour, and you have bucking, that you got to let off the accelerator and press it again and it goes away. The highest percentage of time, it's going to be the ICP. It might not have oil coming through where the plug is, but the ICP is failing. Now, once again, this is going to be engine's hot, at an idle, and it's fluctuating ever so little. First thing you want to do is go and jiggle, while it's running, jiggle that plug, the connector plug. Does it make it better? Does it make it worse? Push it down a little bit further. You know, does it make it better? Does it make it worse? Jiggle them wires a little bit. See if the wire or the plug is the issue. Sometimes the issue can be all the way down to where it plugs into that 40 at the valve cover. Somewhere around there. It also could be chafed wirings right in that area too. So check that out first. It's the easiest visual thing that you can do. Next, turn the truck off, unplug the ICP. It's going to throw a code right away, so don't freak out. Turn it back on, take it for a short ride, and stop a couple times while you're taking that short ride. You know, get it up to speed, 55, 60 miles per hour, engine hot, keeping that engine warm. And stop every once in a while and see if it does it. See if it idles up and down, up and down, up and down. If it has not done that, replace the ICP. Done, handled. And this is what it is going to sound like for this particular ICP issue. So listen real closely. Back up a few times if you need to, but listen real closely. This is the exact sound, because each one is going to make a different sound, okay? So to recap, that is the ICP, and that is what that idle is going to sound like. Now on the newer 99 to 03, that can be a little bit quicker. That can jump up, it can jump up a little bit quicker, but that is the ICP. Now we're going to move on to the IPR. This one's really easy to hear, and that's actually, we're going to start with the IPR. Is take a listen to these two videos, and once again, back up if you need to, but this is a bad IPR, and it does the same thing with the idle. At idle, it'll jump back and forth, but listen to this. It's real obvious. You'll hear the clacking.
I know it's a 7.3, but hear how knocky it sounds? About to.
So that's what that sounds like. PR, it's also going to be accompanied with just poor engine performance, and it'll be sitting there actually vibrating too and misfiring, like a slight misfire. Now I've gone into this into very deep detail in our sensor video. Anybody new here, come on and join the community. The way YouTube has now been putting out new videos for you to get hooked on. I mean, they're just shuffling the cards as fast as they can. So if you have been here, thank you once again. If you're new, join the community. That way you can find me again. We have a complete in the description, all of our playlists, all the sensors on the 7.3, like the one that you see in the background here. Our Tech Talk videos, our hands-on videos, our debunking videos, and there's even more in our main library. Also a very, very detailed how to rebuild your injectors. You've never seen anything like it, so take a look at it. With the IPR here, we're just going to leave it at that. It is just follow the same thing with the ICP. Go back, see the video on the IPR. That's going to answer every possible question in the world that you could conceivably come up with. Let's move on right now to cam position sensor, and I'm going to show you what that sounds like. There's going to be two variations, so I'm going to show you what that sounds like, and then we'll be back. So that's going to be the cam position sensor type of sound that it's going to get. Now, normally, as long as you have a Ford OEM cam position sensor in, the problem is actually not going to be the cam position sensor. The problem is going to be the plug or the wire somewhere down along the line. Now, it can be broke, almost broke, rubbed through, where that signal is not getting correctly to the ECM, and also that wire can be rubbed to the point where it's just starting to show copper, and sometimes just enough where it doesn't show the copper but it's almost there. That is enough for it to be grounding out to the block. And with the jiggling of the motor, you know, with the diesel engine, that it's going back and forth like this, and it's causing that variation at the ECM, screwing up the ICP and the IPR. So this takes a bit of due diligence remove that casing, and you know, same thing applies. Now I know where it's positioned on the truck, but if you reach down there with a rod so you don't hit any of the moving parts and kind of push on it from the top or the bottom on the plug to make sure that the plug is good and not worn out. But the wire itself, anywhere down along the line, you got to remove that looming and look at that wire really close and follow it all the way back on over to the ECM. Multiple times over the years, that's how we find that problem. It's a rare problem, but nonetheless, that's why we're making these videos, so you know. Also, as I discuss in other videos, go load yourself up the 4Scan app, and that app right there, you can load up the PIDs for all of these sensors, and you can monitor them, and you can actually, you know, spot which one is being all funky, because it'll be all over the place and everybody else will be kind of running straight on down the line. So can the exhaust back pressure sensor cause this issue? It can, but there's just not enough variables where this is a regular issue. Over all these years, I've run into it once. And this one's a really easy one. You just unplug it. Turn the engine on while it's hot and just let it idle. If it's gone, then you know you need to clean out the pipe coming from the manifold and replace that EBP sensor, and basically it's handled, it's done. So once again, it's very rare, but it's part of the diagnosis of where that little bit of RPM difference is coming from. And once again, in the sensor video playlist, every sensor that I'm talking about is covered in the sensor playlist. Pretty much explains everything, anything that you need to know about these sensors in the description. So moving on to some other ideas that, you know, might come across or I've seen come across. Could it be the foot pedal? No. Foot pedal does a completely different situation. It's either working or it's not working, or you're hesitating upon acceleration. It does not cause a mild erratic or surging in the idle. Just doesn't do that. So you can rule out the foot pedal. One of the things you should do, though, with the age of these trucks is the grounds. The grounds that are on the engine, to go to your ground battery posts and follow them down to the block, take them off, clean them up really good, follow them down the quarter panels, pull them off, clean them up really good, stuff like that. Underneath the cab, passenger side, there's another ground there, pull that off, clean it on up. Basically, get all your grounds cleaned up. Over the years, just doing that has stopped that problem. It just wasn't getting a good ground going to the ECM and to the engine. Next thing, wire harness replacement. Talk about this in many videos. Consider it a performance upgrade. Now, a lot of comments come through, well, they don't make them for these years anymore. Well, you got to get one that is close as you can for the years that are not available, and basically take yours off, take the new one, set it down on the table or the ground and follow all the wires up, add or delete which wires that your engine has or has not. It's real easy. They're all basically the same. Especially on the 99 through 2000, there's only 4 different wire variations. So they sell one for mostly for the automatics, but you can't get the manuals anymore. Majority of these that you buy, all you got to do is just add the extra 2 wires on the manual that goes into the front of the block. It's as simple as that. You got a wire harness. Why they don't make them, I have no idea. It just completely behooves me. Real easy to do. It might look overwhelming at first, but it's real easy to do for the average DIYer. But like I said, the highest percent of the time is going to be the ICP. Last but not least, you've gone through everything, you followed everything that I've discussed, and you still can't find the problem. It happens. Sometimes it's in the ECM. And you can pull out the ECM. The truck's going to be down for a while. Down in the description is going to be a couple different places where you can contact to send it into, and just have them increase the RPM at idle another 75 RPM. Stops the problem. Idle's a little higher, but stops the problem. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Or order a brand new ECM, but having it reprogrammed is, a heck of a lot cheaper. Just having them bump up the RPM. It's usually about 60 to 80 bucks to have that done. Some companies charge for shipping, some companies don't. All depends. Google, if you want. All kinds of companies do the Ford ECM reprogramming and rebuilding and stuff like that. So I just put a couple of suggestions down into the description box for you to contact. So basically, I hope you've learned something today, and you take it easy and you have a good day.
And that hope could mean salvation for business entrepreneurs and recreational enthusiasts alike, as the 1999 Ford F-Series Super Duty lineup comes in a staggering 44 different configurations, from F-250 to the new F-550, all to meet the widely varied needs of its customers, whose attention Ford aims to grab right up front with the Super Duty's aggressive new styling that features a bulging power dome hood and a huge egg crate grille borrowed from its medium-duty cousins, as were the dropped beltline side windows that offer improved visibility, especially when backing. The F-250-350 Super Duty regular cab pickup's exterior length, now at 226.6 inches, is nearly 9 inches longer than the 97 heavy-duty model. The wheelbase is 4 inches longer, and that creates the extra room needed to give the Super Duty the largest bed and roomiest interior of any pickup on the market. Interior space is easily accessed thanks to longer doors on all models and 2 wide swinging rear doors that are now standard on all Ford Super Duty supercabs. Those with a larger workforce to move can try the more spacious 4-door crew cab on for size. But regardless of what model you choose, you'll notice a distinctly different, more utilitarian interior than found on the light-duty F-150-250s. But one not lacking in comfort. Those in the saddle for the long haul will appreciate the bigger seats with pressure mapping design, a technique that distributes the rider's weight more evenly across the seat, and surfaces that can be covered in vinyl cloth or leather in lariat trim. The tall, expansive dash has plenty of room for mounting aftermarket equipment controls and features a compact but comprehensive gauge cluster. User-friendly stereo controls with oversized buttons and optional dual media ability that handles cassettes and CDs. While heating and cooling duties are easily directed with smooth F-150 style rotary switches. And the optional passenger side airbag can be deactivated with just the turn of a key on all but crew cabs. Storage is plentiful throughout the cabin, from pockets in the doors to a larger glove box and an available center console with enough room for a personal computer, and a handy clip on its lid to keep your loose paperwork from becoming airborne. Supercabs like this F-250 also offer an additional 49 cubic feet behind the front seat, with a more comfortable rear bench for people hauling that's easily folded flat to create a steel load floor for cargo hauling. But it's what's underneath the Super Duty that really separates it from the rest of the pack, And that's a purpose-built chassis designed especially for the over 8,500-pound gross vehicle weight class, making it the strongest frame on any full-size pickup. That's matched with equally tough suspensions, with a redesigned twin I-beam up front on F250s and 350s, and a single mono beam with leaf springs for F450s, 550s, and all 4x4s. And that's all powered by a choice of 3 engines, beginning with the familiar 5.4-liter Triton V8 with ratings of 235 horsepower and 335 pound-feet of torque, while the 6.8-liter Triton V10, the first V10 to be offered in a Ford truck, pumps out 275 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. But those with serious towing plans should check out the vastly improved 7.3-liter turbocharged Powerstroke V8 diesel. The addition of an intercooler has boosted horsepower from 215 to 235, with torque increasing to a crushing 500 pound-feet. The diesel feeds through an all-new ZF 6-speed manual transmission with a lower-than-low granny gear and a higher-than-high mileage-enhancing overdrive gear. All engines can be fitted to an upgraded 4R100 automatic that was developed especially for the high-torque diesel and V10 power plants. And in an industry first, the first automatic that can be ordered with an optional PTO port for powering winches, aerial lifts, dump beds, and such. In answer to customer demand, 4-wheel drive is now available on all Super Duties, including dualies, in either a manual hublock manual shift setup or Ford's Pulse vacuum hublock system that offers unique shift-on-the-fly convenience and freewheeling economy at your fingertips. Stopping power comes in the form of 4-wheel discs, which are standard across the line. Under 10,000 pound GVW, rear anti-lock is standard with 4-wheel ABS optional. Super Duties over 12,500 GVW get Hydro Boost brake assist. Pricing is as varied as the model line, but a regular cab 4x2 with the 5.4-liter V8 engine carries a base price of $19,160. 4x4s list for $22,260. The popular Super Cab 4x2 with the same engine is priced at $20,915, with 4x4 starting at $24,015. With the Super Duty lineup, Ford has targeted a segment that includes everyone from weekend wood haulers to the horse trailer towing set to construction contractors and commercial cargo haulers, a market that has grown more than 80% in the last 5 years, prompting us to say that when it comes to tough truck needs, Ford has a super solution.